So we meet again. Today we are going to have a look at arguably the most simple but also the most agreed upon theory in Fantastic Frontier. It is of course the color theory. The first step to understanding color theory is to look at the colors as equipment classes. The three most basic classes are red, blue and yellow. Red symbolizing melee, blue symbolizing mage and yellow symbolizing ranged. Now, what evidence do we have of this correlation? Well, the most convincing example is the final floor of the Otherworld Tower. Mr. 58 has three ways to attack the player: melee, mage and ranged. And all of these attack forms match with the three colors we mentioned before: red for melee, blue for mage and yellow for ranged. We can also see a statue in the Twinkling Meadow where the player holds up three colored stones that symbolize the combat classes. In other words, the statue symbolizes the player's ability to wield the different classes of weapons and armor. This color and class correlation is further symbolized by the tricolor necklace. The necklace gives bonus damage for all three classes, and the colors of the gems in the necklace are red, blue and yellow. Those are only the first three colors. Now we are going to take a look at the hybrid colors: green, purple and orange. These colors are the second step in color theory, and they represent the hybrid classes. The hybrid classes consist of two classes combined. So for example, melee and range would be red and yellow. Now let us combine these classes colors and see what we get: the color orange. Salamanders are how we discovered this, as they take bonus damage depending on their color. A way to confirm our theory further, however, is to look at the merchant known as the Great Eye Man. This merchant sells equipment for all the classes we know, including hybrid classes. And if we now look at his hat, we can see all of the colors of the color theory being there. So this merchant is the perfect conclusion to the general color theory. But there is even more to color theory than just the three frontier colors and the three hybrid colors. Let me introduce you to the two colors that very few players seem to discuss: black and white. These two colors, or what some people call shades, are seen in weapons like the salamander, where they take damage from all classes. Considering that the default salamander also takes all damage types, I believe that the black and white colors are not related to classes. Instead, I think they are related to the void and the sky. Now, it's common knowledge that the sky in Fantastic Frontier is white and the void is black. The latter can be seen on void equipment. For the Frontier inhabitants and merchants, the sky and void can also be seen as good and evil. You can see this on the Ancient Greatsword and the Demon Greatsword, both having their own color theme, as well as the light and dark marble having a description that indicates that the light marble shares magnificent stars, while the dark marble hides evil secrets. We can also see this moral symbolism in moral code, where the color of the code is white, the code of a better person. It's also worth noting that this code is sold on Matamata, which is outside of the frontier. We can also look at the town of Right and Wrong, having a general black and white color theme, where we can now assume, based on our previous discoveries, that the white stands for right and the black stands for wrong. Not convinced yet? Let's take a look at the Greedy Wizard and the Kind Wizard. The Greedy Wizard has black robes and the Kind Wizard has white robes. With all of this evidence, I think it's undeniable that in the world of Fantastic Frontier, white is seen as something more pure, while black is seen as something more devious. Overall though, it's important to note that the color theory only applies to some things. In other words, color theory is not something that has to be applied to everything. It's simply there for us to notice from time to time, and that is of course for the best. Colors are everywhere in Fantastic Frontier, especially in the update, so it's pretty clear that most of the time they don't mean anything. So let's remember that going forward. Let's try not to overanalyze all of the colors in the update, but at the same time appreciate the color hints that we do find. After all of this, there still remains a big question about how the frontier colors are directly related to the classes. I mean, what about other worlds in Fantastic Frontier? Considering that salamanders are a combination of frontier colors, would the Nightmare not need to make some sort of connection to the frontier to create the salamanders in the first place? Well, I did argue in my Red Boy's Nightmare lore video that the nightmare was making a physical connection with the frontier. But I do wonder how all of these colors indication works across worlds. We're getting so many new worlds in the update, so will a blue salamander in the sky lands take magic bonus? How can that be the case if the class colors are directly tied to the frontier magic? I spent a lot of time thinking of this and I'm not sure what the answer is, so I'll leave that for the comment section, and of course the update itself. So this part of the video was not in the script originally, but I just thought about the Red Folk teaser that we got back in early 2023. Well, in that video we came to the conclusion that the Red Folk's model probably included landing zone, and this Red Folk is wearing the frontier colors on their headband. Basically, this indicates that the Skylands are part of a frontier due to those colors being related to the Skyland inhabitant. This is quite interesting because the original theory that the frontier separates the Otherworld from the Skyland suddenly becomes the frontier and the Skyland separating something else, something beyond the Skylands. It's also important to note that the underground world that has been teased may also interfere with the gift world theory. The idea that the Otherworld has moved from the bottom of the gift world towards the top may be false if the underworld does not have otherworldly corruption, because then how does the frontier have otherworldly corruption? Since the Otherworld will have to move through the underworld to get to the frontier. So the color theory does have influence on the other theories as well, and it makes me even more excited to see what the update brings in terms of world building. That was my take on color theory. I hope you got something out of this video, even though color theory is already well established in the community. I have more lore videos planned this year, all of which are probably more interesting than the color theory. We'll see you then.